Hi there, welcome to today's session of Every Mark Matters. Today we are going to be having a look at Edexcel History. We're going to be doing paper 1, and that is medicine through time. I'm just going to introduce you to the question. Our question of the day is simple. Explain why there was little development in dealing with infectious disease in the years 1500 to 1700. 12 marks. You may use Great Plague or the theory of miasma. If you want to just spend a moment now just pausing it and just writing that in where you've got plenty of space to annotate around it, please feel free to do so. So I'm going to start by breaking it up the 3 chunks that create this exam question. So deciphering what exactly is it after. So the first element that we want to have a little look at is something called the command phrase. The command phrase in this question, I'm going to write it up here. In this instance, is explain why. What it is asking you to do is asking you to present reasons and explain them. The focus is our next element that we're going to be having a look at. Our focus with this particular question, so I'm going to write down focus down here, is dealing with infectious diseases. So again, I'm going to annotate that with the word focus, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in some little arrows here around the word focus. I want you to press pause now, and I want you to think about what knowledge do you have about dealing with infectious diseases during this time period. So press pause and set maybe a 1 or 2 minute timer. Think about what knowledge you might have about this topic here during this time period. Press pause. I'll see you in a minute. So I'm presuming there that you have sat there and thought, okay, well, what might this time period be? And you're absolutely spot on. That time period is the Renaissance. Feel free to jot that in as well. Alright? So I'm now thinking about my own knowledge. And sometimes what I quite like to use, I quite like to use the stimulus that they provide. So I'll tell you what I am going to do, is I am going to refer to the theory of miasma. Again, what I also might do is I might actually refer to the Great Plague. Now, what do I know about the Great Plague? Well, obviously, it hit London in 1665. It killed 100,000 people at a rate of 7,000 people a week at one point. It was a really hot summer. I might try and annotate that. Again, what I might do is I might talk about with the theory of miasma. Again, that's bad smells, isn't it? And I might try and think about, well, what do they try to do to cover up the bad smells? Well, they lit fires as well, didn't they? Lit fires. Doctors wore those beaks. They had those herbs at the ends, didn't they? I'm going to write in here somewhere about posies as well, where they carried around posies to try to cover up the bad smelling air. And then finally, I might think this is a bit left field, this one. Alright, it's a little bit out there, my final one, but I'm half thinking about opposition. And what I mean by that is more meaning about people's attitudes to new discoveries. And again, during this you have Two major discoveries. You have Harvey and the heart, and you have Vesalius. And during this period, during the Renaissance, you have Galen and Hippocrates both disproved here. But do people accept them straight away? I don't think so. So the final part of the question, what I would like to show you, is the second order concept. All right. And in this instance, it is this word, these two words, little development, and that is your second order concept. You do not need to memorize or know a massive list of second order concepts. You just have to acknowledge what it's asking you to talk about. And in this instance, that is little development. So we are looking at continuity. Why did things remain the same during the Renaissance? That's basically what the question is asking you. Okay? So what I might do now is, now that I've decoded the question, so I know it's asking me to present reasons, I know it's asking for continuity, I know we're focusing on infectious diseases, and again, a polite reminder, it's a 12-mark question, so you're going to spend 15 minutes writing down 3 paras. That's 5 minutes a paragraph. And again, just before the paras start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little look at my success criteria down here. Now, with this particular question, what they do is they will assess you in something called Assessment Objectives 1 and Assessment Objectives 2. Alright? And the exam board, when they refer to Assessment Objective 1 or AO1, that's just facts, nice and easy. And when they refer to AO2, that is just explanation. Okay? And again, what we're looking at here is we're thinking about, well, how do we get 12 out of 12? What do we do to do so? And our writing is scored in level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these levels are not grades, they are the quality of your answer. So I'm only going to focus really about level 3 and level 4. So level 3, in order to get level 3 of knowledge, all you need to do is you need to make sure that you have got 2 facts per paragraph. 2 facts per paragraph. Okay? For level 4, you need to do the same, but it needs to be precise. Alright? And again, obviously that means names, dates, events, discoveries, and so on. When it comes to our explanation, again, I'm going to go back to level 3. So level 3, that might just be 2 sentences of explanation. Alright? And I tend to use the explanation questions of how and why. So how did your reason lead to little development? Why did your reason lead to little development? If you're doing that for every paragraph, you're going to be knocking on the door for a level 3 for that answer, as long as you've done it for 3 paragraphs. And that would work out at probably somewhere between a 5 to a 7. If we are going for level 4, which of course we are, what we're going to go for is we're going to go for 3 sentences. And that, when we do that, we are going to use how, why, and so what. So, how did your reason lead to little development? Why did your reason lead to little development? And what is so special about your reason? Again, this is a 3 paragraphs you're going to write this with. You need to write down 3 reasons. If you fail to write down 3 reasons, you are capped at 8 marks. Okay? So if you've only got 2 paragraphs, you are capped at 8 marks. Okay? So, there we have it, ladies and gents. Our question of the day is, explain why there was little development in dealing with infectious diseases in the years 1500 to 1700. That is the Renaissance. It is asking you to the command phrase is asking you to present reasons and explain them. You need to be focusing in on the idea of dealing with infectious diseases. Our focus, again, I'm thinking about talking about miasma. I'm thinking about talking about the Great Plague, where I've put some little precise facts in there. I'm thinking about talking about opposition, as in, like, people just didn't like the fact that William Harvey and William Harvey and Andreas Vesalius are challenging the ideas of Galen and Hippocrates. And again, our second order concept is little development. It's all about continuity. Why did things remain the same? Me personally, and I know everyone in here is going to be doing the same, we're going for level 4. So you need to make sure you've got precise facts. If you need to look up some of these facts, please feel free to do so. And then we're going for 3 sentences. How, why, so what? Okay? So I will leave you now, and I will see you again in about 15 minutes. Press pause, set a timer on your phone, see you in 15. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so I'm hoping there that you have spent a full 15 minutes giving me 3 paragraphs explaining why there was little development or little improvement in dealing with infectious diseases in the years 1500 to 1700. What I would like you to do is I would like you to now switch to a different coloured pen. I tend to use green when I'm marking. What we're going to do is we are going to reconsider this success criteria here, and we are going to have a look at what they have done so far. Alright, again, what I want to do with you just for this first paragraph is I just want to demonstrate the basics. Okay, so I'm just going to start by demonstrating point, evidence, explain. Okay, so allow me to read out my first paragraph to you. One reason why there was little improvement in dealing with infectious diseases during the Renaissance was because of people's attitudes during the period. For example, when Andreas Vesalius first dissected the human body in 1538 and later published his book Fabric of the Human Body in 1543, there were huge numbers of people from the religious and scientific community that refused to accept that the works of Galen was inaccurate. I actually think that should be were inaccurate. So that's an error there. I've tried to squeeze out in my 15 minutes. Additionally, when William Harvey disproved the theory of the 4 humours in 1629, he faced huge amounts of opposition as he was challenging the works of Galen and Hippocrates. This led to little improvement, as the works of Galen and Hippocrates had been accepted for over 1,500 years, and people were reluctant to change. Moreover, Vesalius and Harvey's work were limited by a lack of alternative theories around the cause of disease, which fueled their opposition more. This shows how there was little improvement, as no one was initially willing to accept the ideas, and the new ideas came with their limitations. So I'm just going to demonstrate to you my point, evidence, explain. And I know this is very basic, but I just want to remind you. So your points is when you rewrite the question and make a statement. So for example, here I have made my points. One reason why there was limited improvement in dealing with infectious diseases during the Renaissance was of people's attitudes. So I'm just going to underline that. That is my points. Now I'm going to move on to my evidence. So my evidence is when I present facts that back up my statement. And again, I'm going for 2 facts a paragraph, and I need to be as precise as I can. And you'll see this here, where I have said, now I love a good phrase where I go, for example. For example is a great phrase to demonstrate knowledge. Again, I really like additionally. That's another great phrase to demonstrate knowledge. What I'm doing now is I'm simply describing. So here, for example, when Andreas Vesalius first dissected the human body in 1538, again, I've got a year, I've got another year, I've got the name of his book. I really should put that maybe in quotation marks with Fabric of the Human Body. So this is really precise knowledge here. I've got 1 fact, 2 facts with years and names in it. Perfect. Right, now what I need to do is I need to have a look at my explanation. Okay? Now, I tend to use phrases like, this led to, this meant that, as a result. but I've snuck in a cheeky moreover here. So my explanation starts here. This led to little improvement, as the works of Galen and Hippocrates had been accepted for over 1,500 years, and people were reluctant to change. Moreover, Vesalius and Harvey's work were limited by a lack of alternative theories around the cause of disease, which fueled their opposition more. This shows there was little improvement, as there was no one initially willing to accept new ideas, and the new ideas came with their limitations. So I really just want to focus on explanation here. So here I am in green now, so I've switched to green. And again, remember, our success criteria that we're looking at when it comes to explanation is how, why, so, what. So allow me to demonstrate to you my how. So here it is. This led to little improvement. How? There it is. How did it lead to little improvement? Because the works had been accepted for over 1,500 years and people were reluctant to change. Why did it lead to little improvement? Again, why? Well, it's because they didn't provide alternatives. They simply said something is bad, but didn't give us an alternative. And then finally, this shows by doing that, what you are doing is you are demonstrating your so what. What is significant about this reason in comparison to others? So that's 3 levels of explanation on what we call analytical explanation. So here my answer here is I've made my point. I've got loads of AO2 down here that I've just highlighted. So I can put AO2. I can put AO2 down here at the bottom. I can put AO2 down here at the bottom. Alright, so again, you will see 3 levels of explanation, AO2, AO2, AO2. Maybe you've done the same with yours. So where you've used phrases, this led to, this shows. If you've snuck in a cheeky moreover, I've not used a moreover in a while, that's AO2. And again, when we're looking at AO1, our facts, what I've done really well here is I've referred to Andreas Vesalius dissecting the human body. I've actually put the year of when he did it. So I'm going to put AO1 plus. Again, I've got put another year. So I'm going to put AO1 plus. And again, I've got William Harvey. So again, AO1 and AO1 plus. What you might have done is let's say you've spoken about William Harvey or Andreas Vesalius. Maybe you've got a paragraph about Vesalius. Maybe you've got a paragraph about Harvey. You might have done 2 facts on the pair of them. 2 facts on Vesalius, 2 facts on Harvey, and that's absolutely fine. Okay, so currently I'm possibly looking at a bit of a level 4, but at this rate, because I've only got 1 paragraph, I'm not going to be able to get into level 4 at this rate. So let's have a look at my other 2 paragraphs, okay? So let's have a look at my second one. So I'm not going to highlight the point evidence explained in this one. I'm just going to mark it as I would do as an examiner. Another reason why there was limited improvement in dealing with infectious diseases was because of their belief in miasma. From my own knowledge, I know, I love that phrase, from my own knowledge. Again, that's another really good phrase just to demonstrate your knowledge. From my own knowledge, I know that during the Renaissance, miasma had become the prevailing or main theory around the cause of disease. I also know that this theory led to doctors carrying around posies and using sweet-smelling herbs in masks shaped like beaks. As a result, people during the period were using many wrong beliefs and ideas to try and treat or limit the spread of disease in dealing with deaths. Limit the spread of disease, leading to the deaths of millions. Therefore, this would be limited progress because they still haven't discovered germs, reducing the effectiveness of the methods of I missed out dealing with infectious disease. So shame on me. That's the timer there, dealing with infectious disease. If you ever have extra time with an exam or any assessment, make sure you go back and read your own work. I clearly have not. Okay, right, so as soon as we start with AO2 last time, I'm going to start with AO2 this time. Okay, so again, you'll notice that I've used the phrase like as a result. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put AO2 there. As a result, people during the period were using the wrong beliefs and ideas to try and treat or limit the spread of disease, leading to deaths of millions. Again, there's my how. How did miasma have an effect? Well, they're using the wrong stuff, aren't they? Okay, let's have a look at the why. Why did it have an effect? Therefore, this would, that should be a this, you could tell it was under time pressure. This would be limited progress because they still haven't discovered germs reducing the effectiveness of the methods of dealing with infectious diseases. Right, okay, there's my why. Okay, but you've probably noticed something here. Where the hell is my so what? Well, evidently, maybe I was being a little bit under pressure here, but you will see AO2, AO2 again. So it's 2 sentences of AO2. Alright, what I need to do now is I need to refer to maybe about so what. So what I could do is I could throw in a phrase. So maybe you're sat there struggling, thinking about, well, I've not got any so what, so what could I do? Maybe you could just simply say, this was important because. And what you're doing there is that will allow you to demonstrate the significance of that reason. Okay? And then my final reason. So again, let's just say I've only written 2 paragraphs. The exam board would cap me at 8 marks. Okay? Being generous, I would know. In fact, I'm not even going to get anywhere near 10 marks. I'm capped at 8 marks presently. So despite the fact that my first paragraph's really strong and this paragraph's okay, I am really capped at 8 marks at the minute. Let's have a look at my final one. A final reason why there was limited progress was the Great Plague. During the summer of 1665, look at that, AO1 plus. The Great Plague epidemic killed thousands of people within London, and 7,000 deaths every week were recorded every week between July and September. Moreover at the minute. Moreover, the effective ideas in treatment such as transference of bloodletting, look at that, that should be ineffective. Again, you'll note this is really important here. You've got to make sure that you read through your work if you've got spare time at the end. Moreover, the ineffective ideas in treatment such as transference and bloodletting made people desperate. So there's plenty of AO1 there. 7,000, there's AO1 plus. Within London, AO1 plus. July and September, AO1 plus. The summer, I think that's AO1 plus. That's great stuff. So what you can see here is I've got 2 facts there. So again, there's my first fact, there's my second fact. So in terms of AO1, I'm doing pretty good with this paragraph. Alright, let's have a look at my explanation. This led to limited progress as in desperation people returned to the idea of religion having an influence on medicine. You might be looking at here is my how. How did the Great Plague have an effect? Well, here it is. It made them more religious again. Not that they weren't religious already, it's just a reminder, is that because of the Reformation, people begin to challenge the ideas of the Catholic Church, and I challenge the ideas of the Catholic Church around medicine. Okay? They're still deeply religious, but what's happening is they're beginning to think about, well, does God really cause disease? According to this, yes they do, or yes he does, or yes they do. This meant that instead of looking at effective methods to deal with the Great Plague, like cleaning the streets or better quarantine, they turned to praying. This shows the lack of progress, as they still did not have a clear understanding of the cause of disease, despite the many scientific advancements of the age. And yet again, you will see, so again, this led to, that's a great AO2 phrase. This meant that, I might circle these. This meant that, that's another great AO2 phrase. So what I've done in there is my how, there is my why. This shows the lack of progress, there is my so what. So by doing that, ladies and gents, all I have done is simple point evidence explained with specific facts, 2 facts a paragraph, how, why, so, what. Now, I think my first paragraph is fairly strong. My second paragraph is not great, but my third paragraph is better. So what I'm going to currently write is I'm going to score myself with the levels. So I would say, given the fact that I've gone 7,000 deaths, transference, bloodletting, I've spoken about the names of the books when Vesalius and Harvey published their books and made their discoveries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say level 4. But I'm not necessarily all that happy with this paragraph. So do you know what? I'm going to be really harsh to myself. I'm going to put level 4 minus. Alright? Now again, AO2. In 2 of my paragraphs, I have done my how, why, so what. But again, this second paragraph isn't fantastic. So what I might do is I might put level 4 again, because of my how and why, so what, in that first and third paragraph. But what I might do is I might put a little level 4 minus again. So I might, out of 12, I might either, if I was a generous examiner, I might put 11 out of 12. If I actually am a harsh examiner, I'm going to call it 10 out of 12. But realistically, you're probably going to get that. I mean, even better, you might actually get 12 out of 12. I'm just being particularly harsh here. Okay? So, have a look back at that success criteria that we created together and begin to self-assess your work. Alright? Remember, if you've got 2 facts for every single paragraph, that's going to be level 3 for AO1. If those facts, you've got preciseness, years, names, dates, places, that is going to be level 4. Okay? In terms of your explanation, if you have got 2 sentences of how and why, of course the how and why is not explicit to 2 sentences, you can do it in more than 2 sentences, but if you have gone how your reason led to little development, why that reason led to little development, that'll be level 3. If you have gone 3 sentences or 3 explanations where you've gone how that reason led to little development, why it led to little development, so what was special about that reason, you are sitting in level 4. And of course, the dream is much better than mine, level 4, level 4. Alright? And if you have confidently sat there and you have got 2 facts a paragraph that's precise with 3 sentences of explanation per paragraph, that is 12 out of 12. Alright? But the most important thing is that it's capped at 8 marks if you only have 2 paragraphs. So make sure you've got your 3 paragraphs when it comes to an explain why. Right. Thank you very much for your time. I will leave you to it. Thank you very much for listening and watching. That's our last session for the day of Every Mark Matters. See you next time.